Bitcoin is trading in the middle of this broadening wedge, and if we are going to zoom in on this broadening wedge, we do see something very important happening for the Bitcoin chart. So that is what we need to discuss within today's update video. We will discuss a lot more than only that, like all of the most important Bitcoin charts, the latest news hitting the markets here, some upcoming events for this week. And of course, I will give a big update on my Ethereum trading position, the most important Ethereum charts, and somewhat of a deeper dive into altcoins. So from there, guys, make sure to first of all subscribe to the channel and watch and like my latest YouTube videos, and then we can dive in towards the most important content. Since Bitcoin is still trading in the middle of this broadening wedge, I still think that this phase for Bitcoin looks very similar like what we saw happening for Bitcoin in 2024 before eventually pushing for this major breakout. And I'm saying this because I also do know that we are now getting rejected from this pivotal resistance level for Bitcoin. You can clearly see on the chart here that every single time we break above this level, we make new all-time highs, and once we break below it, we fall a little bit deeper for the Bitcoin price action. And exactly that is also happening now. But ultimately, I do think once Bitcoin is going to break this resistance level, it will be breaking higher in this broadening wedge pattern, and then you are looking into quite a big breakout of the pattern like we saw in 2024. Then also, if we zoom in a little bit on the broadening wedge itself, we can see something very important, and that is the fact that this major inverted HNS pattern is getting formed for Bitcoin now. The daily candle just turned green, so today this could get confirmed on the daily time frame, and then you're looking in this neckline resistance of, let's say, about 116k, and that is also exactly lining up with this resistance level here. So this could be the pattern for Bitcoin to push us above this pivotal resistance level, and once that is going to happen, I do think history could be repeating here with the breakout of the broadening wedge and quite a big price target personally for this final Bitcoin wave, because I do think this will be the final Bitcoin wave. I'm targeting somewhat of 130 to 135,000 US dollars, because I don't think it will be of the same magnitude like what we saw in 2024, but I do think that Bitcoin is actually lining up more bullish than most people are currently seeing and realizing. Bitcoin is now bouncing off this major support level. I must say, if Bitcoin is going to lose this support level, we could grab some liquidity under it and then bounce back. But if you're going to break through this support zone, I do think it's starting to look a little bit more bearish for Bitcoin, and I might flip a little bit more bearish on Bitcoin. But for now, it doesn't look like Bitcoin is going to lose this support level, but it's going to be important to watch over the next days. I do think if you look in this support level and also this ascending channel Bitcoin has created over the last few months here, we still have one higher high left to make here, because in this ascending channel we have been creating the highs, the lower highs, the lower highs, a new higher high, and now I do think one final higher high will follow for Bitcoin, and that also aligns with my thesis of the breakout of this HNS pattern and the broadening wedge. So I do think Bitcoin is actually looking quite good here. Also on the stock RSI on the weekly, we have seen this bullish crossover for Bitcoin, and every single time we saw this stock RSI bullish crossover, we've always seen big continuations for the Bitcoin price action. So I don't think this time is going to be any different, to be fair. I do think it will be exactly the same. Bitcoin did grab some downside liquidity with the move to the downside from yesterday, but I must say not all downside liquidity is grabbed, and that is why I was stating that if Bitcoin is going to lose this support level, it's going to look a little bit more bearish, because then we have a big liquidation cluster here at the 107,000 US dollars. But like stated earlier, I do think this is only going to be the case once Bitcoin is going to lose this important support zone. So keep all of these levels in mind. And then, like we discussed in the video of yesterday, I do think now finally a little bit of weaker September seasonality is kicking in for Bitcoin, but we have only about 7 days left before October, which is usually one of the most bullish months for Bitcoin and crypto. And I do think Q4 in total is going to be massively bullish. Definitely if September is going to close in the green, because every single year we see September closing in the green for Bitcoin. We always do see a very bullish Q4 in these bull market years, for example, but also in 2015 and 2016. Once September did close green, we always do see a very bullish Q4. So I'm hoping for September to close green here, but I do think, to be fair, in both scenarios, Q4 is going to be a very bullish period for Bitcoin and the crypto market. We have a big weekend coming, and basically this starts today with the Powell speech and the services and manufacturing PMI. On Thursday, the GDP and the initial jobless claims, and on Friday, the core PCE index. And I will be live streaming all of these important events. Also today, allegedly a big announcement coming from the White House about Bitcoin and crypto. This is not confirmed yet, but if it's going to be the case, I will be live streaming also that event today, and later this evening for me, I will be live streaming the Fed Chair Powell speech too. So make sure to come and join the live streams of today if you're getting interested in that, but it seems like we are going to see quite a volatile and pivotal day. And now I do want to give a big update on my Ethereum trading position, because like stated in yesterday's video, I did open this Ethereum trading position, and most of that I did in exactly this support zone here. And for now that seems to be turning out quite nicely, because I was in somewhat of a bigger loss because my first trade opening was at the 4.3k level, but then I started opening more trades in exactly this support zone, and I do have a very clear Ethereum game plan. And if you want to join me trading Ethereum on LBANK here, or any other altcoin pair, because they do have a lot of altcoin pairs on LBANK, make sure to claim this 50% deposit bonus on everything you deposit on LBANK up to 5k. You can do this with as many accounts as you like, and you can claim this offer with the link on the description on this update video. So make sure to check out exactly this link, and then you will get forwarded to exactly this page where you can claim your 50% deposit bonus and some other great benefits on LBANK. So if you do want to join me with my Ethereum position or your own altcoin trades, make sure to check out LBANK. And I also want to give you guys a little bit of a deeper dive into what I think is going to be happening with the Ethereum price action now, and how I will prepare on all the scenarios with my Ethereum trade still open here. Guys, basically for Ethereum, I see it breaking now under the moving average 50 trend line. And the last time we saw this happening for Ethereum, we saw about a 15% drawdown. I think that that is going to be somewhat of the worst case scenario for Ethereum, and a 50% drawdown from the moving average 50 trend line would mean an Ethereum price of about 3.6 to 3.7k. I don't personally think that Ethereum is going to drop that low, but just in case, I prepared some limit orders in this zone, because here is where I do want to be buying. If we are going to drop this low, it's going to be a huge opportunity for me. So there I will be opening a bigger and bigger Ethereum position. I'm targeting about a 30k Ethereum position in total here. So that is exactly going to be my game plan. This is going to be my buy the dip zone. This is going to be my accumulation zone. But I don't know if we will get there, because if I'm looking at the Ethereum funding rates now, I can see the funding rates turning negative. And that is historically seen a major bottoming signal for Ethereum, because every single time we see this happening for the Ethereum price, the funding rates turning negative, we always do tend to see a major bottom in the markets. Every single time once the funding rates turn negative, we do tend to see those bottoms. So I don't think this time is going to be any different, and I do think that the bottom might actually be getting quite close. Also because Ethereum did wipe out a lot of over leveraged positions, with one of the biggest liquidation wicks is since 2024. So that is of course quite insane, and these charts are aligning with my thesis that this is most definitely going to be my buy the dip zone, and I don't even know if we're going to drop this low. But this is definitely the zone where I do want to be accumulating, and I will be doing so on LBANK. And like stated, if you want to do the same, make sure to check out that 50% deposit bonus on everything you deposit on LBANK up to 5k. So the maximum deposit bonus will be 2.5k on one account. Keep that in mind, and like stated, you can find the link in the description under this update video here. So make sure to go and check it out. So yeah, I do think maybe one final liquidity grab for Ethereum is going to be the case here, and then we will be accumulating, and then we will be making a nice profit on the way up, hopefully. Then Ethereum is now trading in this range. We of course did break below or break down the bullish pennant we had been creating over the last few weeks, but now we are trading in somewhat of a range, which is in my opinion still bullish for Ethereum, because we are doing so just under the previous all-time high and the previous cycle high. So that's why I do think personally that Ethereum is still looking quite bullish. And I personally do think that in that ending stage, once Ethereum is going to break this range and we are going to see new all-time highs, that's going to be a massively bullish period for altcoins. And if you do want more altcoin setups, make sure to also check out my VIP Telegram group, where I'm personally, but also Crypto Rover and 5 professional other traders are sharing our trading setups and basically our market IDs and our views on the market. We all do this in the VIP group in real time. So make sure to check this out. If you're getting interested in that, you can also find that link in the description on this update video. But now let's dive into some altcoins, because I do think that now we are entering that phase 3, that large cap phase for altcoins, because we have seen Solana outperforming, we've seen BNB outperforming. Of course, now we are seeing a little bit of a drawdown, but ultimately I do think once the continuation of altcoin season is going to occur, large caps will stay outperforming. And then it won't take much longer before we are going to hit phase 4, the true altcoin season. So in my opinion, this is going to be one of your last opportunities and last moments to be accumulating altcoins before the massive moves altcoins are going to make next year. On the yearly perspective, it's definitely not an altcoin season yet, now at 33 here, so there's still a lot of potential for altcoins. Also the others versus E chart, so the smallest altcoins divided by Ethereum, are showing this. There's still a lot of potential left, because the last time altcoins were this oversold, like we've seen on the RSI this cycle, was in 2021. And once the bounce started from there, we saw a bounce of about 150%. Now we've only seen a bounce of about 16%. So there's still a lot of potential left there. That is obvious. The Bitcoin dominance is of course breaking down of this cycle top here, and ultimately we do still have a major move to make here for the Bitcoin dominance lower due to the range lows. But what I'm also seeing now is that here in this September period, we are basically bouncing off the same level like we saw in 2021. So I would not be surprised if a little bit more liquidity is going to flow back into Bitcoin, and then we are eventually going to break much lower. But ultimately, I do think in the ending stage of the cycle, the Bitcoin dominance is going to move all the way to these range lows here, and that is where the true altcoin season is going to occur. So guys, that was it for today's update video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's update video, and I will see you guys within my next update video tomorrow.